Hi, everybody. Good evening. My name is Stephanie Kleiman. I'm the program coordinator that put this together. And with all of my wonderful team here, I want to introduce them to you now. But first, I want to explain what is in your folders. If you open them up, you're going to see some tips and hints that will help you in the kitchen. You'll also have a recipe packet for each of the items that we will be making this evening so that you can take them home and try them for yourselves. There is a note card and a pen just in case there's anything that our presenters talk about that's not listed that you want to write down to remember later. So right now I would just like to introduce everybody to you. We have Belinda Chester, who is a master gardener and program coordinator for the Rutgers Cooperative Extension of Atlanta County. We have Kendron Diet, who is program associate for the 4-H Atlanta County. We have Sarah Lacey, who is program queen for Noise Arts Garage. She said that's her official title now, so I'd like to welcome her. And thank you all for joining us this evening. This is our first session for the new semester, and this is Coffee Shop Swap. So I hope everybody enjoys.
You will see also in front of you, if this is your first time, a little red box. I work with the Master Gardener program. I also have a culinary background, which is why I'm here, and I work with our food preservation program. But your little red box is so that you can create your own little herb garden in your dorm room. So you have 3 different types of seeds there, pots. You've got the little pellets so that you can, some of you may have actually a bag of soil and some will have pellets. If you come back, we'll probably ask you throughout the season how your garden is going. But also, anytime you have questions about gardening, that's kind of what I do for our whole county. So, all right, so what we're going to do first tonight is we're going to do coffee house bagels. Now, I jokingly say bagels in quotation marks here because we're in New Jersey, and New Jersey, New York, these are not going to be your bagels that you go get at a bagel shop. These are something we can make with 2 ingredients, so something very simple that we can make in the dorm room, in a small apartment. They're very easy, and they store for 4 to 5 days, so you can keep them for a little bit of time. And they're, like I said, they're super simple. So don't be expecting your normal boil everything bag. So we're not going to go through all those steps either. That's the wonderful about this. The thing about this recipe is that basically it's got 2 steps. We're going to take it over. We do already have some in the oven. So before we leave here tonight, you will be able to try some. We're going to get started. So Kendron is going to be working on our bagels that are made with almond flour and Greek yogurt. So these are 2 ingredients, Greek yogurt, and I'm using a self-rising flour, and he's using almond flour. And with the self-rising flour, which can be hard, some people have a hard time finding it, and sometimes it's not always in the store. We did give you on your recipe card how you can make a self-rising flour out of regular flour. So no worries, you can just add some baking powder to it and salt, and you've got self-rising flour. So I'm going to put my gloves on here. And we've already measured out 2 cups of almond flour, and I think that's just the preheat telling us that it's done. And then I have 1 cup of self-rising flour here. And then we're going to put 1 cup of Greek yogurt in each one of these. And we made these earlier, and just a little tip of baking. Baking is very susceptible to weather conditions. So if it's really humid, you will find that you might need less of your liquid ingredient than you normally would. And what we found a few minutes ago was that this was actually a little wet. The dough was a little too wet with the full cup. So I'm going just slightly less than a cup here. You're going to kind of eyeball that. So what you'll do is kind of mix it up. You can see we're going to kind of just get it to a rough dough first. And if it seems like it's too wet, you can add a tiny bit of flour. If it seems like it's too dry, then you can add a little more yogurt. But you don't want to have too much yogurt in the beginning because especially when you're using the flour, it's less of an issue with your almond flour, but with your self-rising flour, you don't want to work the dough too much before you really start kneading, because you can actually mess with the gluten on it, and you get a tough bagel. We're not going to boil these today, but this particular recipe, the one with the self-rising flour, you actually could go through the whole process with this. So you could put the Greek yogurt and the flour together. You could boil them and then bake them, egg wash them and bake them. We're going to egg wash them. There is technically a third ingredient, but you don't have to egg wash them. It makes them brown and pretty out of the oven. So a little more fancy, but if you don't put the egg wash on there, they're still gonna be fine. They just won't have quite the brown crust that you would normally get on them. All right, so you can see this is it's just kind of a rough dough right now. We're gonna knead that together once I get it on the board here. And what did I do with my phone? Oh, here we go.
The good thing about, basically, let me ask you, how many of you guys go to Starbucks and these other coffee shops? Like, how many of you do? Like, just raise your hand if you. A lot of folks, right? And why do you go there? Just a quick question. Why do you go there?
It's easy. You just get it and go.
Is it? So it's not for because it's not. So do you just get regular coffee or? Sorry. Do you get? Do you get regular coffee or no?
Like an iced latte.
So you like the specialty of it, and I think this whole program is to show you that you can make this specialty stuff on yourself. Because I'm pretty sure, how much of a grande? You said grande. How much does that cost now?
Go to Dunkin', but it's like $4 something.
So it could still be a little expensive, and there's nothing wrong with it. You like what you like, and you whatever. But the biggest thing is, how can I get something that I enjoy? And if I can't afford it right now, or I'm trying to save money, how can you make it yourself? So hopefully we can give you that answer. I'm just talking to you, but hopefully we can show you, something that you enjoy, and then you can make it yourself. And there's some kind of pride in that, so you can make it yourself. Or like you say, if it's easiness, I get that. But if you can't run to a Dunkin' or run to a Starbucks and you have a little bit of time. So that's why we show these things. They're fast. They're fast at home if you have the stuff, and relatively inexpensive. So that's the hope that we can, give you these tips that you can get there with you.
So throughout the night, we're going to show you coffee drinks, tea drinks, different things that you can use as a swap. Makes it and some options so that a little more budget friendly, but also just we're going to bump the nutrition up in it as well. So I don't know if you've looked at the nutritional facts on a lot of the coffee shops, and believe me, I jokingly say, but it's really true. I am all about my coffee. Coffee in the morning, coffee in the middle of the day. Kendra will tell you that I actually have a coffee maker in my office, and it's always going. So. I get the coffee, but I'm going to show you some of the things that I literally use every single day, every morning, that bump the nutrition up. So now I'm getting more than just a cup of coffee, but I'm also getting some extra protein, lower sugar, so just kind of a healthier, less expensive version. But also, it's okay to treat yourself as well. So I have turned this out. I put a little bit of flour on here. I didn't put a lot, but I'm going to put, just because it's kind of a wet dough, I'm going to keep putting a tiny bit of flour, just not too much, but I just want to kind of keep this surface so it doesn't stick too bad. But the self-rising flour version, you actually want to knead this for about 5 to 7 minutes. The almond flour version, you're going to knead that one for about 3 to 5. Now, let me tell you something. So I'm a baker, actually. That's my biggest culinary thing is that I love to bake. I love to do decorative cakes and things like that. So this is kind of my wheelhouse, but I like things that take a little less time. But also I want to tell people, I put on here 5 to 7 minutes. Don't set your clock. You don't have to set your clock. Your dough is still going to work if you don't go exactly to 7 minutes or exactly to 5 minutes. The main thing that you're looking for is, you can see we had a shaggy dough, and now our dough's really starting to come together and it looks a little bit smoother. So that's really what we're looking for. So we're going to get about, somewhere around 5 minutes, you'll start to see that it really starts to come together. And whenever we're kneading it, we're going to kind of push it like this and then pull it back in, and then push it and pull it back in. That's going to work the gluten in the dough. Obviously this one does not have gluten. So the difference in the almond flour, the kneading process in that one is really just getting it to stick together so that it's going to be something that we can actually form into something that looks like a bagel. You can see the main reason that we're keeping this flour on here so it doesn't stick too bad. Keeps it from sticking to my gloves too. All right, so once we're done with this one, and we've gotten this one for probably about 5 minutes now.
Yeah,
You really start to see a good ball form. We're gonna turn that in so that that's going underneath. So now we have a ball and we're gonna put it, kind of flatten it out to about an inch and a half. Inch and a half into a big circle. And then we had this funny discussion earlier. I call this a bench scraper. Some people call it a dough cutter, whatever you call it. This is what I'm going to use. It's pretty sharp on one edge. You can use a knife, but I just find this easier. And we're going to cut this in as even as we can. It's not going to be perfect, but we want to try to get as even as we can in little triangles because that way we know that our bagels are going to be about the same size. And getting them about the same size means that they cook at the same rate. If you don't get things at the same rate, so we talk about this even when we do vegetables in some of our other programs, cutting them to about the same size makes it gives you a more even cooking. So we're going to get as close as we can here. So now we've got some triangles. We're going to roll these. Actually, Kendron's almost ready with his. So his gets the difference in this one. So we've cut this into little triangles and we're going to make those into bagel shape. His cuts into a log and then again he's going to take his bench scraper and put them into about, you can actually do that a little.
Okay.
About 1 inch. And then we'll show you how that one's going to go. So this one, you're going to roll it a little. These are not really big bagels right off. And then we're going to put them together. There's 2 ways you can do this. Some people pinch them together. Some people roll them into a little ball and then stick a little hole in it. So we're going to do it 2 ways. That's rolling it into a length. You can roll it into a ball. Again, if you're going to roll it into a ball, kind of tuck it under. And then stick your thumb through the middle and put a hole. This is actually the way I do it. I just think it turns out prettier. Sometimes that's my rationalization. It looks prettier.
It's fine. It doesn't make you happy.
All right, so Kendron's actually going to take these and I don't want to touch them with this flour. Make them into little rounds like this, and then he's going to do the same thing. Just poke a hole right in the middle. So these are going to be a little more bread-like, and those are going to be a bread, but they are a little crumbly when you're putting them on the pan. So the little bit harder to do when you're transferring them. So we're going to do lots of fun drinks. We're going to do a kale and blueberry smoothie. That's actually my favorite. And the reason I chose that one is that, so I work with farmers, with people doing community gardens, things like that. And one of the things that we can grow almost year-round in New Jersey is kale. And it's easily hidden in a smoothie and really nutrient dense. So blueberries, as you probably know, we are one of the blueberry capitals. So I always like to highlight our blueberries because I think the blueberries in New Jersey are exceptional.
What are we known for? Mostly in New Jersey. In
Blueberries,
Jersey?
tomatoes,
Tomatoes, right?
cranberries.
Cranberries.
Believe it or not, one of our top
peaches,
crops
right?
is also, peaches, broccoli.
Broccoli.
But our cool season crops are something that we really do very well. Like I said, kale, spinaches, lettuce, cabbage, things like that. And we can grow a lot of those almost year-round. There's about a month in the year where New Jersey doesn't grow a lot. An egg wash is just an egg with a little bit of water in it. Some people put cream in it. Some people put nothing in it. It can be done different ways. We're doing these with just a little bit of, it's eggs whisked with a little bit of water. So we're going to sprinkle everything bagel seasoning on most of these. We're going to leave a couple of plain ones too. But this particular recipe, the self-rising flour, or if you're using regular flour with baking powder, You can add things to this one. You can add cheese, you can add raisins, you could add chocolate chips, you could add anything you want to add to them. We're going to add everything. Bagel seasoning, you could actually just dip them in here, but I'm going to sprinkle it on
It smells
top.
good too. Everything bagel smells good too.
But I'm not going to put it all of them.
Smells good. Oh yeah.
So we're going to get these in the oven, and then we're going to move on to some coffee. So just to kind of give you an idea, we'll show them to you in just a second if you want to pull those out. The self-rising flour, they're actually going to really puff up and look more like what you think of in a bagel. So that's what they're going to start to look like. They'll get golden brown as we're going to jack the temperature up to 500 degrees in a few minutes. And then your almond flour bagels are not going to rise like the other ones, but they really make a really good bready kind of thing. I've used them for sandwiches and a lot of different things.